Space, the final frontier. Space Station Ashland sits on the edge of Federation space with its companion ship, the U.S.S. Dilamus Christian. The space around them is full of mystery and strange wonders, where secrets are kept and danger lurks around every corner. The crew of the Dilamus Christian must navigate treacherous waters as they work to protect the Federation. But as they peer into the unknown, they will discover that the line between friend and foe is not always clear. They will be tested like never before and will face challenges that will push them to their limits. Join us on this adventure as we explore the farthest reaches of space and uncover the hidden truths that lie within the shadows. Tabletop Journeys presents Star Trek Preservations. Welcome, everybody, to Season 3, Episode 8 of Star Trek Preservations. I am Josh. I'll be your storyteller for this evening, picking up after Episode 7, which I also ran. Let's go around the room and just remind everybody who our erstwhile cast of characters is over here. Let's go ascending rank order. Let's see if you guys can remember who, from bottom to top, how the crew is organized.
Hey everybody, I'm Lacey Knutson and I'm playing Narilla Nilan, who just wants to do a little science here.
There'll definitely be some science opportunities for you tonight, Narilla. Absolutely.
Hi, I'm David Rideout. I play Lieutenant Commander Avidian Tenari, the Andorian Chief Engineer of the Dilamus Christian. And last session, we did not get a chance to pet the alien.
No, you did not pet the alien, for shame.
We petted it with photon torpedoes.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm not sure that counts as petting.
Was that petting or peltering?
Exactly right. You pelted the aliens pretty well.
It definitely gave us its opinion of what we did.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. It did. And I will say, brilliant stroke again, Nari, defeating the aliens that had got on board, utilizing your ability to speed up repairs. There have been numerous comments out and about just how screwed I was pretty much from the get-go. In no small part due to the amazing piloting skills, but also some very quick engineering work from Lieutenant Commander Tanari. So don't let it go to your head. Commander Ocean, I think that falls to you next.
Yes. Hi, I'm Adam Scaramella, and I portray Commander Ocean Jazilver, the Dilamus Christian's Andorian First Officer.
Fantastic. And our erstwhile captain.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. I am Joe Harney, and I play Captain Sabian Tobor, the Joint Trill Commanding Officer of the Dilamus Christian, a Federation Saber-class starship.
Excellent. So who would, as I like to do often with my home games here, who would like to give just a brief rundown of what happened last time we all got together and some of the key points?
Well, I'll go ahead and start then. So, due to some of the great sciencing that Lieutenant Nilan did, she was able to find information that would let us track down the last of the Epsilon species ships that have been roaming around and plaguing our efforts to try and solve all of these mysteries that are going on.
Yeah.
So after a quick refresh at Ashland Station, we headed out to where the alien ship was to be. It was in a star system that had no planetoids. It was just a giant, massive blue star. We did try to approach as stealthily as we could, but when we scanned the ship, it fired on us. Yeah. And then hijinks proceeded to ensue.
Yeah, I think that was probably the only failed roll you guys had the entire evening when you tried to be stealthy. So it just goes to show you that stealth doesn't pay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then battle ensued. But who remembers how the episode ended? Because that's really what's key to tonight's episode.
Yeah, I believe the DC said it had figured out something.
It did.
And it was asking for more power.
It was.
Which I provided. I can't say we provided.
And when we say DC, we don't mean specifically the ship as a whole. We mean the highly tuned Epsilon searching AI interface, which is in the ship's core computer. So just to go ahead and be clear about what was asking for what here. I see Narila shaking her head in disbelief that such a thing had happened, but
highly.
And then it said it was able to make itself a body.
Was able to make itself a body. That's correct. Shocking nobody. And the episode, in fact, ended after its tremendous pull on the ship's computers, near to breaking, and its nearly infinitesimal or infinite thirst for power, which Tanari gladly volunteered the shuttles to go ahead and provide. The episode ended with you guys all out in front of the sensor room, where it had found the replication technology that the mothership had embedded, and saying that it was done. And the episode very dramatically ended with the doors to the sensor room they have been unlocked and they are about to open. Which brings us directly to today's episode, which begins 3 months after that date. It's a star date 59958.62. After the victory over the Epsilon spacecraft, were told to come back to Aslan Station for debriefing of all of the information that you guys have accumulated over the years, at least 2.5 seasons worth of Epsilon species information, as well as whatever else was held in the memory core, as the regional command works to piece together all of the information from the work that you guys have been doing, the Aegis team missions and the work that they have been doing, and they are eagerly awaiting transmit of information from the Michael Collins and the work that they have been doing to piece together everything that has been happening with Epsilon so they can go and get a comprehensive report on the state of what may or may not be happening with Epsilon. However, the consensus among the regional command is that the threat has been eliminated, which yay for you all, and your medals of valor earned from regional command. Over the course of the last 3 months, you also have ostensibly a new player on the board, if not a new crew member. They have definitely part of what has been of interest to the regional command is what to do with DC now that they are no longer computer bound. But also, DC has taken this opportunity to learn from you all and talk with you all and get to know you all in a new way. It has clearly, in some level, evolved, and it does not necessarily know what that means just yet. And it is relying on the crew that it now sees as family to help it understand that. So that's where we're going to begin tonight. All the debriefing about Epsilon, that's all very much happening behind the scenes. There's not going to be much more to learn on that front, but we're going to begin tonight with some role playing to go ahead and see how are these interactions going. Narila, I think I'm going to actually go back to you because I think that you are the one that has seemed least comfortable with the current state of events, which naturally, let's start here and kind of see how this goes. I have a series of questions for you that I'm going to prompt, and I want you to answer as Narila and tell me what you think about this. So the first one is that DC uses the same voice and inflection and personality, but they're now a physical presence. How does that make Narila feel?
I am more uncomfortable than I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was quite uncomfortable before, probably the most uncomfortable. I had some weird moments.
Yeah.
That are still unexplained, unanswered for.
Yeah.
So, I would probably be trying to spend the least amount of time with I'm not ready to study it yet.
I like where this is going. I'm going to ask you the next question on the list here, but before I ask you this, I want you to know that, of course, Rila has the opportunity to decline this particular invitation because so first of all, if and when DC asked to see you one-on-one or to meet you in physical presence, as it would say, would Narila have even accepted the invitation?
It is such a shame. I'm so busy all the time.
That is a shame. That is a shame. All right. Then fine. Then I will actually skip over the rest of these questions then, because if you're not going, which is totally an acceptable answer. I don't want you to think that you are somehow setting me off. That's
just for clarification, though. I'm not being instructed to provide any of this assistance to it.
You at this point have not been given any direct orders to interact with it.
Okay.
And I'm using it as a horribly insensitive term because DC does not yet know how to define itself. Thus, I do not know how to define it. There are inevitably going to be changes in its personality and probably physical appearance over time. But so you're basically playing the, oh gosh, so sorry, really busy, catch you on 10 forward later sort of thing. That's totally fine then. I need you to give me a D20 roll then, please. And this is just a naked D20. I just need to know what the number is.
I rolled a 15.
A 15. Okay, fantastic. Okay, this is interesting. Inevitably, Narila would have, while you're on station, one of the tasks that Narila was assigned was some work on the station holodeck. There's some strange memory buffer issues on the holodeck stuff. And when you investigate it, you found that DC, who has been given not totally free reign, but certainly permission to go ahead and do things. Again, Starfleet kind of not sure what to do with them. But DC ran a series of holodeck scenarios that simulated the last X number of years of the Epsilon crisis with a variety of alternate endings. They continued to go ahead and run scenarios about what would happen if we had done this, what would happen if we had done this sort of thing. There was in no point any danger to the station. And I want to be very clear about that. And that there were definitely safety protocols, which are not normally put in place by DC when they ran this to ensure that there was no danger to the station whatsoever. What of the outcomes that DC ran through was of most interest or most disturbing to Narila?
Probably any scenarios that involve crew members making like tremendous mistakes or causing end of life or something like that.
So almost as if that's telling you that like DC understands how you all would function in certain situations, but that you are inevitably accident prone bags of mostly water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Now, also, and we're almost done with you, Narila, I promise, putting you on the hot seat here. While you have not chosen necessarily to see DC one-on-one, their presence is certainly not unknown on the station. Name a trait or a characteristic that you believe that DC now has, something that is interesting about them or unique to them, other than the fact that they are a human body constructed out of a sensor array from an AI intelligence.
I think
beyond that,
perhaps they are a bit too blunt sometimes.
Yep.
In a way that makes living beings a little uncomfortable.
Yep. Do you think that everybody sees them that way, or is this just something that you see?
Maybe not just me, but maybe not everybody.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What is the best thing and the thing that you fear most about DC continuing to evolve?
The best thing is that it seems, at least surface level, that they want to continue to be a part of this team and to aid us. The most fearful is if that's only surface level.
Whether that's real or not, yeah.
And they're doing things for their own benefits.
I like it. I like it. Here is really the kicker question, and I think I know how Narila answers this, but I am curious to know if she does. If Starfleet ordered you to decommission DC in their present form, would you follow that order?
That is a terrible question.
Of course it is. Welcome to my world. This is the fun part of my job.
I don't think that I would without some really serious justification, not just on
Yeah.
a blunt order.
Yeah.
Do
Do you feel like you would advocate for DC in that case?
Maybe.
Okay.
I definitely seek more answers and information.
I like it. Cool.
I don't like where this is going, just for the
I
record.
know. I'm sure this is all amazing. It's this is wonderful. This is fantastic. I'm going to go around the room as they appear to me. Commander Ocean, excuse me. We're going to start with you. Some same questions, some different questions. So the first one about the fact that DC uses the same voice, inflection, personality, but is now there in physical presence. How does that make Commander Ocean Chief of Security feel?
As the XO, I don't know that I would necessarily have a problem with their appearance, partially because I have been working with them on a fairly regular basis. Ocean hasn't really had any bias towards DC as a sentient AI. Once it was established that was what they were.
Yeah.
Initially, there would have been probably have been some discussion. As the XO, I would have probably been the one to, I don't want to say dress them down, but it was reckless and it was unauthorized. So they are going to have to, I would have established they're going to have to not reprove themselves to me, but I am treating them like a regular member of the crew, although their status is not certain. It's a small enough ship that it's not going to be useful to
I like it
to segregate them.
I love that answer so much, Ocean.
That being said, I am also preparing for the possibility that it tries to stick us in the back.
Yeah.
And I would be, I don't want to say contingency planning against that, but
sure. Yeah. It's like a trust but verify stage.
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So then here's a question. So when DC walks into the room, do you see a fellow crewmate, something pretending to be one, or something else entirely? And has that opinion changed since they gained physical form?
Initially, the security training that I went through, I would have potentially reacted as if they were a potential threat. They would not be allowed to be unsupervised until we were absolutely certain as to its identity or their identity, as well as their whether or not they had done any damage on their way out.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yep. That is fair. And Starfleet at this point in the 3 months hence has verified that their story is at least verifiable, and that they have done like neural resonance scanning to ensure that the intelligence that is now in this form is in fact the same intelligence that was aboard the ship. They had enough testing to know that they did not do any damage to the sensor array that was not reparable any more than being in combat would have damaged things. So everything seems on the up and up in that DC's story that they transferred themselves into this physical form and were able to walk out of the sensor array is verified to the extent that Starfleet can. You see no reason to believe otherwise. Or at least, sorry, you may see, nobody at Starfleet has seen any other reason to believe otherwise. Whether or not Ocean believes them or not is a different matter.
Yep.
All right, then give me a D20 roll, please.
I have dice.
We are going to need dice tonight. That is true.
I rolled a 2.
A 2. That's fantastic. I know that when we spoke with Narila, she was very much of the, oh gosh, sorry, DC, I have not been able to go ahead and meet with you one-on-one. Would Ocean have taken the time to meet with DC privately? Or taken up on the invitation?
Yeah, a lot of that would be, and that's the question, is it an invitation or a request, as Narila suggested, they may have come across as a very abrupt. So a lot of it will depend on how the request comes across.
As far as you can tell, the request is not coming from anybody other than DC. It is DC asking to see you, but they are not like ordering you. They're not commanding you. It's more like they're saying that they are trying to figure things out, that the crew is as close to family as they really have nobody else, and would like the opportunity to ask questions and have conversations.
Oh, certainly. I don't know that I would. I will accept the offer.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So in one of these private meetings, then, DC promised you something conceptual, right? Like protection or honesty or revenge for those who have wronged your house or freedom or love or something. What was that promise? What was it that they said they would do for you? And how did you find the promise? How was that received by you?
Assuming that they have had access to personnel files and the same stuff that I would have. It's a great question.
Let me answer that first question while you're thinking about that, though, because that's a very important point. Now that they are no longer living in the computer core, they are only given whatever access they are entitled to by rank and duty. So if on the ship you did not give them permission to access personnel information, for example, they have not accessed it since they left the sensor array.
In that case, I believe that they might ask me or tell me that they were going to earn my trust.
Yeah. That they, I like that they feel like they had broken it. And after the discussion that you had, they've been thinking about it, and that they realized that maybe they had broken your trust a little bit with what they saw as their imperative in the sensor array, and that they wanted to earn that back, that your trust was important to them. I see that. How did you feel about it? Did you feel like they were being genuine?
I'll use the phrase that you used before. Trust but verify.
I like it.
You know, that sort of, I will give them the opportunity to be able to fulfill that promise.
I like it. Okay. And then the same 3 questions that Lieutenant Narila round up with. What is, after these conversations, what is a trait that you find DC expressing? And do you think that it is something that only you see because of your unique relationship with them? Or is it something that is clear to anybody that meets them?
Interestingly, I don't think it would have been something that is specific to me. I think that DC would be, how do we say this? While they're on the station, they are well aware that they are often the center of attention and that they are not opposed to it. Let's leave it at that.
I like it. They have the rock star vibe and they're enjoying it a little bit.
Yes.
I like it. What's the best thing and the thing that Ocean fears most about DC continuing to evolve?
Fears or is concerned about?
Sure. Concerned about is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ocean's scared of nothing.
No, it's not that. It's a different conversation because Ocean's a father.
Yeah.
And there is this is a new person, and he's thinking about it in that concept, especially once we realize that it's not just an extension of what we're looking at is not just an extension of their presence in the environment.
Yeah.
He's not looking at them as someone that he has to father, but he does have that sort of view of them that he would of any green cadet, that they will lose their way.
Yep. Easily manipulable by outside forces.
Yes.
Yeah. I like it. And then the same real dastardly question. If somebody in your command chain ordered you to decommission DC in their present form, would you do it?
Again, the question would be why. If there was a reason that they had betrayed us in some way, then probably would be, I would actually be looking to be the person that did it.
Yeah.
That I would do it myself.
I like that answer a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I felt that this was just we don't like what this is, it scares us, therefore we have to destroy it, I would probably attempt to remove them from harm by finding some way for them to escape.
I like that answer so much, Ocean. Thank you very much. Lieutenant Commander Tanari, we go to you. And how do you feel now that DC is up and walking around? You probably had the closest relationship with DC on some level. What do you think?
Especially after the quick trek.
Exactly.
Actually, Tanari is excited. He feels that DC has taken a big step in developing their own identity, and will probably be assisting them in trying to develop that identity, including maybe customizing their physical appearance. Whether that appearance winds up going towards the way of John Delancey or Jeffrey Combs or whatever.
Yep. I like it. That's a fantastic answer. Okay. In your conversations with them, because I'm assuming, again, unlike Narila, if DC said, hey, Tanari, I'd like to get together for a beer, you'd be bringing the Andorian brandy.
Yeah, in fact, Tanari is probably just the opposite and is making excuses to spend time with DC.
Right, exactly, yeah. Getting the forward from Narila and taking her slot. Yeah, exactly, yeah. On one of these conversations, DC has asked you to show them something uniquely, they say human for lack of a better phrase, uniquely human. A laughter, a superstition, how to cook, how to grieve. What is it that you show them? And how do you think that they did with the lesson?
I've actually thought of that in some previous sessions. I would probably pick an important piece of literature from each one of the 4 founding species and present it to the DC to read. It was probably something like the collected works of Shakespeare from the Human, the Kirshara from Vulcan, the autobiography of Thylek Shran from Andoria, How to Make Enemies and Influence People from the Tellarites.
Yeah, I like it. What is the physical form of the thing that you present? Is it just like a data pad with the 4 books on them, or are they like physical books? Things
probably
that you
a data pad.
Yeah, okay.
In
just
fact,
for
if some of them are, if I have particularly like the Shakespeare plays, if we have particularly good hollow programs of performances, do that.
Yeah. I'm sure that such a thing exists, so I'm sure that would be easily, if not on the DC itself, certainly on the station. Yeah.
Maybe even like some hollow programs of Admiral Archer's speeches.
Fantabulous. Your D20 roll, please.
All right. 9.
A 9. Fantastic. As we talked about earlier, Starfleet has run a battery of tests on DC in their new form, and one of them was a self-awareness assessment to go ahead and judge how free thinking is DC. Not only did DC exceed expectations, clearly identifying them as independently thinking, but during the test, they asked the examiner a question that an AI maybe shouldn't ask isn't the right way to go ahead and put it, but certainly never has asked previously. What was the question that they asked, and why was that such a concern? Or maybe not concern. Why was it so interesting to note in the report?
The question was, do you like me?
Oh. Do you remember what the examiner answered?
The examiner probably just stared at him for a while and maybe stuttered and said yes, not knowing what else to say.
Yeah, that's a brilliant question, Tanari. I like that a lot. And you would find that while DC has this sort of bluntness to him, that a lot of times his bluntness carries that sort of emotional weight to it. It's trying to figure out its place in the universe now, and it does not pull punches, but it will routinely ask, what does pain feel like? Why does, not so much like he won't like, or they won't hurt you and say, does that hurt? But it will be much more philosophical than that. But in this sort of blunt, what do you mean you can't answer what love feels like? Why I can ask the question, why can't you answer it? So that's very much on par with their walking personality now that they're out.
Probably also by this point, DC has not quite figured out reading emotional cues.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And so being blunt, DC will just come out and say, do you blank?
Correct. Yeah.
Have I hurt your feelings? Have I,
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
angry? Are you?
Yeah. Think season 1 commander data, not season 6. All right, same 3 questions then, kicking around. What's a trait that DC has now, and does everybody see it, or is it your perception of kind of your unique friendship with them?
I think I just handled that previously, and that DC is like not picking up emotional cues.
Yeah.
And is being very blunt about asking about them. I think probably everyone is picking it up.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
Sure. Yep.
And I think most people don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Probably some people who are more technical deal with it better than
I was
your
going to say,
average people.
as an engineer, Tanari is right. That's right in his wheelhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, and the programming people, maybe even like the ship's counselors, deal with it better than like your average shopkeepers in the station deal with it.
Yeah. I like it. What is the best thing and the thing that concerns you most about DC continuing to evolve?
It's watching DC evolve, seeing DC make the choices and being the person they want to be.
Yeah.
The thing that worries me most are the things that had worried Tanari even before we had the conversation of the quick trek, which is that DC could potentially become a lore instead of a data.
Yeah. And then the final question. Starfleet orders you to decommission them in their present form. Does Tanari do it?
Absolutely not. Tanari would resign before he would decommission the DC, besides the fact that he considers the DC family now. He truly believes, based off the judicial precedents that have happened, that doing so would be committing genocide.
I love it. All right. Thank you very much, Tanari. Captain Tobor. Just a level set, if DC reached out to you and said that they would like to spend time with you and speak with you, any reservations on Tobor's part?
None whatsoever.
Fantastic. How does DC having a physical body make you feel? You probably have the longest relationship with DC, and on some level, as intimate as Tanari's relationship with DC is, your relationship is intimate probably in a different way. How does them being physical make you feel?
It's a really disconcerting feeling because its physical form is very much like Nerlina, my past host, would have envisioned the physical body being.
Yeah.
And so it's this really weird deja vu all over again kind of scenario.
Yeah. I like that a lot. In your conversations, again, probably at some point pulling on the previous experience that you've had with DC, you've discussed something with DC that probably nobody else knows. It could be an opinion, a fear, a memory, probably not a piece of classified data, but if you really wanted to, you could go ahead and say that. But what is it that you told them, and what do you think they did with it?
So it was essentially most likely around, and this is probably what generated the holodeck simulations on the various epsilon theories.
Sure.
It's, okay, we destroyed this ship, now what? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Is it over? And if it is over, what kind of happens to us as a crew?
Yeah, that's a great question. Do you have, that is a sentiment that it shares. It's yes, now that what was my core focus has ended, what of me now?
Yeah.
The very existential question that it continues to toss around.
And Tobor tends to focus on kind of that what now of its purpose, and then probing along its ethical programming and trying to find out how much of it is intact, what is its ethical framework.
Yeah. Its ethical framework seems very much intact, and that again very much would have been part of the battery of testing that it went through. In your conversations, it probably shared as much that it knows enough to know what Starfleet has been doing in terms of these batteries of tests, and it on some level would probably try to joke and say things like, I guess that if I am here, it found no flaw in my ethical framework. They have not sent you to decommission me yet. D20 roll then for me, sir.
A 4.
A 4. So, in your role as captain of the vessel, you have been, for lack of a better place to put them, been made DC's commanding officer. DC says that they sleep now, and at one point transmitted into their personal log file a recording of what it called a dream. What was in it? If you chose to look at it.
So first I would ask DC if I could. I would ask their permission, like I would any other crew member.
Yeah.
For that, when they let me know they had a dream, and I'm like, oh really?
Yeah.
Would you share?
DC would be very interested in your interpretation.
And so it is like a super surreal, I don't want to say nonsense dream, but it's definitely one of imagery, and it's almost if a computer was told what dreams were and then made a dream based off of all of the textbooks that have ever been written about what dreaming is. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's haha, I now see the moon. This must be lucid. That sort of thing.
Yeah, like the moon is made of cheese. Yum, yum.
Yeah. I like it. That's brilliant. In the communications that you have had or the conversations that you've had with them, what is a trait that you think that DC now has, and does everyone see it or just you?
So the one thing that, and I am the only one who sees it, is that this version, for lack of a better word, 1.1 of DC's sense of humor is different and more organic and more biologic than DC, the program in the ship, was.
So fart jokes.
But like appropriately timed fart jokes, as opposed to like previous attempts to have timing. Like that when, like the before and after the emotion chip with Data, like where he's like, the gorilla in the Ferengi suit has to go. Yeah, you told that joke 8 years ago. I know, I just get it.
I like it. What is the best thing and the thing that concerns Tobor most if DC continue, or about DC continuing to evolve?
The kind of the best thing is they're now getting to explore the physical universe as an entity. But the thing that is still concerning the cyberneticist past host is like, this is not at all in the design parameters, and there's no roadmap, there is no user manual, there is no nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some of the things like that Tanari had pointed out about, he'd have these very blunt questions of honest, earnest, almost childlike questions of why is it better to be alive? Kind of things.
Yeah, I like it. That's brilliant. Final question. The real dagger question. If Starfleet ordered you to decommission DC in their present form, how do you proceed?
Absolutely wouldn't. I would dump out every judge, advocate, general thing about the treatment of sentient beings and force them to recognize it as a sentient being deserving of all the protections of any other being. So if they're going to decommission him, for lack of a better word, he better have committed a capital crime that would have the death penalty associated with it.
Yeah. So not just, we need to understand what happened here, and unfortunately, studying them requires a full necropsy sort of thing. That would be absolutely verboten for Tobor.
Yeah, I'm gonna lie, and I would turn back to him I would turn back to the questioner and say, "Would you like me to cut you open to figure out how your guts work?"
Yep. Interesting. All right. I love all of this. Well done, everyone. So that is basically how the last 3 months have gone. Those sorts of conversations. How much of the conversations that you've had with DC do you share with one another? Do you guys talk about this, or do you feel, obviously, Narila, that's a just as important question for you also, too. How open amongst yourselves are you being about your conversations?
I'm gonna short circuit that, and I'm going, as the crew is going through this time period, I'm bringing them in and talking to them about their comfort level of having, especially the crew that weren't fully read into Epsilon and weren't super aware the ship was sentient this whole time, and then now it's walking around.
Yeah, the ship is walking around the ship. Yeah,
and getting and having not mini counseling sessions, but just talking with the various crew members throughout the ship and getting their thoughts and insights and opinions on it as freely as any of them are willing to share with their 4-pipped commanding officer.
Exactly. Yeah. How? So I guess then the question to Tanari, Ocean, and Narila is: how open are you being with Tobor about the conversations that you're having with DC?
Tanari is completely open unless the DC tells him that there are things that it would prefer that he remain confidential.
Interesting. If DC said to you, Tobor, Tanari, don't tell anybody what I'm about to tell you, you would not tell Captain Tobor that.
Correct. Unless it were something like, I plan to wipe out all life on this particular planet.
Sure,
but
except for you. Yeah, except for you, you're cool. Yeah. Yep. The ethical responder protocol, right? Where it's there's confidentiality within
mandatory reporting.
Mandatory reporting. Thank you. Yeah. But unless they talk about subjects 1, 2, 3, or 4, then I have to go ahead and say something. Yeah. Okay. I'm down with that. Ocean, how about you?
And real quick, Josh, in that conversation, I'll ask Tanari, I want you to check through the computer core now that DC has a body to see if he's fully gone from the computer, from the ship, and fully contained, or if there's residual programming in the computer core and we need to isolate it to make sure nothing goes awry.
For sure. Yep.
Will do. Yeah, I would also probably do tests to see if there's any sort of latent connection between the body and the computer.
Ooh, that's a good one too. Yep.
A la something like Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda or something.
Yep. I like it. We'll get to that in a moment here. So I like it.
So I actually have a different question that I want to raise that I'm surprised no one else has.
I like it.
What is DC now? Are they organic? Are they like a Sunian android? What are they?
So I can answer part of that, the very real part of that question. They are organic. They are made of organic material.
Okay, that's
It is-
important.
Yep. It is seemingly replicated organic material, akin to when the Epsilon species replicated crawlers on the ship. Those, because you were able to capture some of them, or some of the material, if I remember correctly, that showed marks of replication, as if you were like replicating a steak. And DC's physical form shows the same hallmarks of replicated organic material, which means that they're made of your waste products, which is weird, but now that I think that one through, but it is what it is.
Just like Admiral Vance's apple.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the steak in the Matrix. I know it's not real.
So that'll be like one of the things I'll be workshopping with Ocean as well. Is so it feels like that Tetrion beam replicating boarding crawler critter thingy gave like DC the last functional step to, so this is how this can be done. Therefore, I can do this now, kind of thing, and get to that.
Yeah.
Since that is the case, work with Dr. New to make sure we have an idea of what the stability of this replicated matter is.
Yeah. That's a very interesting question. Starfleet Medical is also probing into those sorts of things. They are not just testing DC's personality for completeness and stability, but also they are wondering, like, are they going to need to replicate themselves every month or whatever to go ahead and keep their arms from falling off, that sort of thing. Yeah.
No. To your original question, Josh.
Yes.
I am pretty sure that they would be a conversation piece in one of our regular meetings.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's not like we wouldn't be dealing with them I don't think I would be dealing with them any really differently than any other crew member, but it's what do we know? What do we think?
Yeah.
I'm sure in Voyager they had regular meetings about Seven of Nine was a topic between Chakotay and Janeway during their regular staff meetings because it was new. We don't know what that is. And,
has she got all Borgy yet? She has not got all Borgy. Narila, how upfront are you being when Topor asks you if you are and how your meetings with DC are going? How does Narila answer?
I would be not completely transparent with my feelings. I probably casually participate in the conversations, listen to what people are saying, don't contribute a ton.
Yep. Maybe not coming right out and saying, oh gosh, I keep trying to, but science. Yeah. Yeah. I like it.
Okay. Because I'm busy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. It is after this 3 months and change of time has elapsed that you and a ship and the crew get orders from the regional command. The crew, along with DC, are ordered to go to Solon. Exactly. Solon welcomes you. The regional command believes that a low stakes environment where DC can be evaluated and observed is the appropriate next step. You are to observe them and ensure that there are no problems. Solon is still becoming the next destination for shore leave. The crew should feel empowered to report behavior back to the ROC, which is not correctable in the moment. And everybody but Narila has understood that DC is definitely looking for feedback on how it acts and everything like that. Seems relatively receptive to such things, but that any behavior which seems beyond the pale or unexpected should be reported back. You'll be expected to file a report at the end of the shore leave here. You're granted basically 7 days of shore leave, ostensibly under orders to also babysit DC. And then with that, the ship, the Dilamus Christian, is permitted to leave Ashland Station to head towards Solon.
So once we get underway towards Solon, I'll bring the senior staff together, tell them about we're taking our new friend to a low-key resort destination to give him a opportunity to interact with others beyond just folks at the station. Everyone, your department, as department heads, you're to instruct your subordinates to observe and report any actions or behaviors that the new being does, but not to, for lack of a better word, try to interject their own beliefs and philosophies. They're to report them up. You all are to report them to Commander Chizilrer, and then he and I, as this being's temporary commanding officers, we will handle, just like any other crew disciplinary issue, we will handle it as though he's a part of the command department.
I like it.
The
Ocean?
DC's first few weeks of life is supposed to be spent under increasing watch. Other people always looking what they're doing, seeing if they can do something wrong.
It is not their first weeks of life. It is the first few weeks of their new phase of life.
Nonetheless,
Again, I would say if any of our crew were acting suspiciously or in a inappropriate manner, I would want the crew members who observed that to report it so that it could be addressed in the appropriate manner. This would be no different than having someone under your command act in a way that's inappropriate for a sentient being. We still don't know the exact mechanics and biology that happened from taking computer code that had existed in a quantum-based, subspace-driven computer memory core and had that transferred into organic pieces.
true, but typically when we give orders to do it to a crew member, they've done something wrong.
To be on the lookout for anything strange or abnormal of someone who has undergone a traumatic and stressful encounter. I'm not saying spy on him in a ghillie suit while he's sipping Mai Tais by the pool with binoculars, but simply watch out for our friend. And if they are not doing well, it might, there's biomechanical stuff going on. So if we see something, we need to say something so we can get them the help that they might need.
Part of it is the last person we did this to was our Vulcan friend.
Well, no, Mr. Jernok was under suspicion of committing espionage and treason.
The other Vulcan.
Which Vulcan?
The interrogator. Oh, sorry, not the interrogator. The individual that put us through the holodeck simulation.
No, I meant Jernok. I just couldn't remember his name at the time.
Ah, that's okay.
And again, I chose to accept his word that he was operating under orders that did not come through our chain of command and had technically no legal right to place him under arrest at the time. So I chose to give him enough rope to hang himself. And so if we do ever catch up with him again, we will settle that scenario. But no, this is, again, to avoid this type of fear of the unknown in amongst our crew. We just want to make sure that we are looking out for our own, like we always have done. And if we find that something is amiss, That the crew doesn't just say, oh, that's just DC being DC. They're suffering from some sort of ill effects from this radically experimental procedure, shall we say?
You're the captain. It just seems constant surveillance doesn't seem like the best way to treat what could potentially be a new species.
We have to balance competing interests.
Any further questions for the senior staff? Or
Lieutenant Elon, any thoughts? I don't want to distract you from your science doodling.
I think that you are giving very safe orders, Captain.
I see. Alana, Arvik, Dr. New, anything from...
Dr. New is very interested to continue reading the results of Starfleet Medical's findings and scans and stuff like that. But he also finds that for right now anyway, that the research that was done on the station is probably enough to keep him busy for some time. But of course, he will happily report anything that he finds there. Arvik has nothing really to add. He does seem like he's siding a little bit with Tanari on this one. Maybe it's a little bit weird, but you know what? Orders are orders, and it probably makes sense. Again, we're dealing with something that we don't really understand or know. But you saw him nodding his head along with Tanari a little bit, as he was talking. So
Alana is completely on board with your orders.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like steadfastly.
Like stun first, ask questions later.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So the important question before we end Act 1 here, Captain Tobor, or actually I guess this question goes to anybody. Does anybody tell DC the nature of your orders?
I will be over dinner with him.
All right. Does anybody else, either with knowledge of the captain or not? Nuriel, I'm assuming that you do not. Lana also does not. In fact, at some point, I'm sure you and Alana probably have a discussion. I cannot believe that this is happening.
I'm trying to not get so mixed up in it and make it look like I am definitely skeptical, but I'm not like, let's throw this creature into prison until we can figure out what's going on or anything like that.
Yeah.
It all stems from weird things that it said to me in the past.
Sure. Yep.
Tanari has the value, your ship is your family, so he would probably tell him, especially since the captain did not say not to.
Yep. Okay, so Tobor, you would wait until dinner that evening. How quickly, Tanari, would you have told him? Or told DC? Would you have run from that meeting and been like, hey, DC, you need to watch yourself?
No, I wouldn't necessarily have run to immediately tell him, but probably some point, because it's awkward, I would probably mention it at some point, like especially if the two of us were alone.
Yep. All right, then here's how we're going to go ahead and do this. Tobor and Tanari, I'd like you both to give me a D20 roll, please. Whoever rolls the lowest is the one that tells DC first.
I got a 10.
Tanari tells him first. All right, when you tell DC is not... They're not surprised. Mm-hmm. They're basically of the opinion that given the battery of tests that I have been given and given the results, which are undoubtedly somewhat nebulous, that makes logical sense for them wanting to observe in a different environment. This makes sense. But I appreciate your concern. He recognizes that you're coming to him maybe in a different spirit than others would.
I also told him in the holodeck that I wouldn't keep any more secrets from him.
Ooh. Okay. I like it. So, Tobor, over dinner, when you're talking with DC, sorry, one second, Tobor. DC would say that I'm having dinner with the captain later. Would you like me to keep this between us?
That's up to your judgment.
Fair enough. Tobor, over dinner.
I'll give him the data pad with the orders.
Yeah.
Full transparency.
Yep. I appreciate the transparency, Captain. In reciprocity of your transparency, I had a conversation with Lieutenant Commander Tanari a few hours ago where he also told me the same thing. And
I figured.
I will tell you what I told him, that this seems a reasonable next step.
Good, I'm glad you agree. As part of that, I would like you to wear a medical monitoring device so we can track your physical BIOS signs and signals. And of course, if there's any incident involving your newly created physical form, we can make sure we can get you back to sick bay as quickly as possible.
I like it. So he puts the medical device on. I'm assuming it's like an arm, like kind of thing.
Either like an Apple Watch or like a up on the upper arm thing.
And you can, as he puts it on, you can see it's like doing the boop. And as he's watching it, it goes boop, boop, boop. And he just smiles. Ha. I can do that.
Oh, consciously. Interesting.
Yeah.
Most of us organic beings can't control our autonomic systems consciously like that.
You should download that update.
Unfortunately, biology doesn't quite work that way.
I think that you would call that a bummer.
The not being able to do it, or the being able to do it, or
The being able to do it. I would think that biologic adaptation would be handy. Would you like me to load that into the transporter buffer so that you can?
No. So one thing, remember, Starfleet Code of Ethics of long genetic engineering and manipulation.
I wouldn't do it genetically.
Then how would you do it?
It'd be really hard to explain.
Okay, let's not do that now. Appreciate the offer, but that upgrading people is going to be way up higher in the chain of philosophical and moral and ethical decision makers than you or I. But I appreciate your wanting to help other people be better.
I'll make sure and start working on the paper, but I'll send the abstract to you before I submit it to Starfleet Science and Medical.
Yeah, let's do that.
And with that is the end of Act 1. We will pick up again when we get to Solon.